Hello and welcome to Europa Universalis 4. This is a video on how would you like 7,000 free Monarch points as Florence or Tuscany. It also is explaining why you should always take Innovative as your first idea as Florence. So essentially the argument behind this, and I've run plenty of numbers, which I can put up if people really request them, but I'll mention some of them. So essentially this strategy relies on the fact that the Tuscan ideas here give you your first idea is tech cost 5%, idea cost 5%. And it might not sound like much, 5% tech, 5% idea. But the fact that you get it immediately, you can get it by tech 5 admin power, assuming you beeline straight for it, is roughly by the end of the game, it'll give you 7,000 free Monarch points scattered between the different categories, something like almost 2,100 admin and 2,500 both diplomatic and military, give or take some numbers. But here's roughly why it works. So you get 5% tech costs from this. And obviously, since it's your first national idea, it takes 3 ideas from any idea group to unlock. Well, luckily for us, Innovative's third idea, which unlocks this idea, is Scientific Revolution, which has recently been buffed in the newest patch. In this case, it is the Russia Immersion Pack one. So this now gives you 10% tech cost, assuming you stack that with the Birthplace of the Renaissance. That's a 15% tech cost in all categories. That alone would get you roughly, I think it works out to roughly about 6,500 points or so, maybe a little bit more. However, the important thing to remember is because we've done 3 ideas, we also get a negative 6% discount to tech down there where it says ideas. Every level of an idea gives you 2% off the related tech group, which makes sense. So if you calculate all that out, assuming you're also saving 20 Monarch points on any idea you take for the rest of the game, it takes you, assuming you've done straight to this 3, you will pay off the investment in admin points into that by tech 21. Tech 20 is when you pretty much have paid it all off, which doesn't sound like much, and it sounds like you're going to be a bit behind in the category for a while. You're not. It works out pretty well. But more importantly, it will leave you roughly 12 or so techs. 20 tech when you pay it off, 32 final tech. Subtract it, you're roughly left with 12. Assuming you play to the end of the game, you're going to be saving, more like making because you don't have to spend it, 2,088 admin points, which is massively huge. Assuming you just did that and took no other ideas for the rest of the game. If you take ideas, it'll help you more in the long run. But if you want to go all the way down the innovative tree, which you should do because it gives you 25% cheaper advisor costs, which is really strong. You'll now, once you complete the tree, because it's 2% and there's 7 of those, you're now going to be getting 29% cheaper admin tech. And you're probably going to be doing it by like 1,500, which is going to leave you, what, 200, 300 years roughly of 321 or so years of really cheap admin techs. You're never going to have to worry about it. You'll be able to develop for days. And that starts to save you. The first one where you just take up to this third one saves you 126 admin points per tech level. And if you do it all the way down, finish the tree, it only pushes it up to 174 admin points a tech level, which will pay itself off in 15 techs. So to be honest, it's probably the only nation in the game where completing the innovative idea tree actually does not put you further behind in that tech category. In fact, it's virtually the same going 3 deep in that category as going 7 deep, which means essentially you get 4, 5 idea things pretty much free. Of course, they happen to be some of the worst ideas in the game, except for the advisor costs. Free leader, pretty nice. War exhaustion, nice. Reduce inflation, absolutely useless. Possible advisor, not too bad. But that gives you roughly 4 free ideas, 4 or 5 free ideas. So that's pretty good. Also, that 15 tech cost, assuming you calculate it all out, you'll roughly save, as I said, 2,100 admin points. You'll save roughly 2,500 both diplomatic and military points. Add it all up, you've roughly gained 7,000 free points overall the whole game. Not to mention you're a republic at the beginning of the game, which republics are very strong for generating monarch points. In this case, you can almost always get a 4 in a specific category, and if you focus it, I mean, look at this. I am just level 6. That means I've kept the guy around for, what, 2 elections? And I focused it, and I've got an advisor. I'm getting 12 admin points a month, which means I'm going to blaze through the rest of this innovative idea tree and still be able to keep up an administrative tech without even trying. The other thing that makes it really good on Florence or Tuscany, assuming you turn into it later on, is they also have a 10% cheaper development cost. So you can stack that with other bonuses like edicts to start to really develop your provinces. I mean, in this game, which I was doing just to show you guys, it's 1476, and I have 3 level 30 provinces. I've got almost 100 development. Obviously, I could push it higher, which is a pretty substantial number at this point in the game, and I'm only 3 provinces large. Imagine how tall you could grow as a nation. Of course, when I say building tall, few provinces, high development, essentially what Italy usually turns into, as usually Holland, the Dutch, and everybody turn into. So it's pretty overpowered as Florence to do this opening strategy. Usually after this, people debate about what opening idea tree to take. A lot of people argue for defensive. Some people are now arguing you do plutocratic or you do noble. I think it's noble, right? Aristocratic ideas, that's what it is, for opening ones. But my argument is if you're Florence, you always want to take innovative. That saved monarch points is just invaluable. 7,000, assuming a province starts with 50 development and goes up from there, is a couple hundred free development by the late game, even if you're stacking it in these provinces. I mean, for me, it's only 92 to improve a level 30 base. Well, in this case, Florence. So you can imagine how drastic it will boost there. Plus, if you manage to get prosperity, because that's new mechanic, it'll be even cheaper. You can start getting some insane bonuses to build the Florence nation or Tuscany nation really, really, really high in points. I tried looking into this strategy with other nations, just in case people are curious about this. France happens to be probably the second best tech nation. I mean, the Ottomans tend to be a tech leader, but that's mainly because of their governmental form. But France has the next best bonus. I can't show you it, but it's France's 6th idea, and it's 10% off all tech costs. The problem, by the time you get it, assuming you make a beeline directly for that, you have to get 3 idea groups, 7 because it takes 3 each. And if you're trying to get to this one here, it's pretty tough. I think it's that way. Yeah, so you have to unlock 3. So that means you have to get to Tech 10 already. And running the numbers, it roughly takes you to pay off the tech. It takes you about to Tech 23 or 26 to pay off, whereas Florence, you paid off by Tech 20. Which means you're only going to end up with like 6 or so techs, assuming you go to 1821, save money. The most admin points you're going to save are roughly 1,400 or 2,700, assuming you take the administrative ideas before you take the innovative ideas as your 3rd idea group, which gives you a 10%. Actually ends up saving you 50% off all admin techs, which is kind of cool. But the fact that you have to do it such late game means the most you'll save is 1,000 or so less than what you could have saved as Florence. And more importantly, that's only an admin. Some people might raise the idea of the Ming, which I can't show you, of course, but because they're Confucius, so they have 10% off admin, or even Korea, which is 5% off tech costs. It's nice, but you're going to be stuck with institution penalties the whole game unless you happen to develop them virtually immediately on your own, which is, of course, an investment, kind of a waste of monarch points in its own sense. So, roughly, Florence is the most overpowered nation in the game when it comes to tech. And also just in terms of getting free monarch power, I don't see anyone else that gets close to it. Some nations, have like 5% off all tech costs, or 7, or in some of the Muslims, I think, get 8%, right? If you're the Mughals, you can get like 13%. But the thing is, as Florence, you get it really fast. And even if you get down to 50% admin cheaper as France or even like the Ming or something, it doesn't outweigh the time it takes you to get there. So pretty much undisputedly, Florence is the best tech nation in the game. They have other downsides, but if you want to play a tech leader game and just have tons of monarch points to throw around to develop your nations or spend conquering things, imagine how much land you could get with 2,100 admin points to gain land, even more if you go down the administrative tree later on. You can start to see why Florence is one of the stronger nations in the game, despite starting out with 3 provinces. Takes a master to play, but if you've got good skill level, Florence is a beast. In fact, their ideas, some people argue, are better than the Italians, which makes it not worth forming Italy, which is kind of hilarious. But by the time you can form Italy, because it takes you, what's the tech requirement? Admin tech 10, plus you have to own a lot of Italy, so you're probably not going to get it till 15 something. It really doesn't outweigh the benefits to staying Florence in the long run. So that's it for this video. I'll try and do other ones. If people want to know about a specific mechanic and any specific way to leverage that advantage, I'll be happy to go into that. There's some really great videos out there. Somebody did one on infinite elections of Milan, which is pretty cool to check out. But I figured no one really had spoken about Florence, so I would. So thank you guys all for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully it helps you, and hopefully you do a lot of damage to the world as Florence. Conquer lots of land for me. Bye for now.